Hello again. This is not the most glamorous of places to have this video from. This is where I've spent the majority of my summer, as I'm sure most of you have as well, you know, sitting around at your desk doing your work and all that. We put up about 20 to 25 videos a week for the summer to run the way that we thought would be the absolute best of what we can do. What we've done is every single day we teach a different sort of our habit and quality pairings through really like a mini little movie. And so by the end of the week there will have been close to about an hour worth of this video to tell this big story that the kids can be a part of and to really feel that sort of part of normal camp. This is something that a lot of kids really look forward to, and it's something a lot of staff look forward to doing as well, because it is a lot of fun. You're just getting a snapshot of what it's like. So I hope you enjoy and you can see some of the fun that we've been able to provide for the kids this summer.
Well, we're here.
All right, so we're gonna take this medallion or whatever it is, the gold, valuable.
Right.
We're gonna need a plan, because admittedly, they probably don't want to just hand it over.
I already got that plan. Follow me.
There are people here. Did you know about this?
Yeah, I already knew about this. Okay, I'm sorry. There's lots of people looking for the treasure too.
Wait, you knew about people being here?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, okay? Like,
Well, you just have a responsibility to tell us these things. Like, as a group, we're working together. You need to be able to share what's going on, and if you have prior knowledge, that's really important for share. You're supposed to do that with responsibility. You're doing what you're supposed to do.
I didn't think you guys would come if you knew, okay? So
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's. Thank you for apologizing. But now what? What do we do now?
Guys, I see a map on that crate over there.
Okay. You think we can get it?
We'll have to try.
Well, how are we gonna get that map? There's so many of them. I don't think they're gonna be open to trade.
Okay, what we have to do here is we're gonna have to decide and plan how we're gonna get that. We know what we want, and we have to make a plan of how we're gonna get it. Oh man, what's in these boxes the boss has got us moving?
Oh man, like I just wish that either hired some more people or had the people that he hired down here helping us. How come we always get stuck with these tough jobs?
Right? Man, but you know what? Like, thing is, even though it might not be the job we want, it's our responsibility to do this, you know? We signed up for the job, we get paid, you know, we gotta do what we gotta do. And even if we don't like it,
I guess that's true.
that's our responsibility, man. So, I guess we gotta move all these crates.
Fair enough.
But, what are you gonna do? Did you hear that? Okay, you guard the yard.
All right.
I'm gonna go check out what that is,
All right, you go check it out.
Yeah, no worries.
I got this covered.
Welcome to the official first ever Marlins Kids Virtual Visitors Day. So it gives me great pleasure now to throw the conversation over to Linda Tilley, our Executive Director up at camp. Linda.
Thank you, Maureen, and thanks for clarifying how all this is going to work and keep us on track. We're just hoping that it's not going to rain, but welcome to our virtual first ever, maybe only, that would be great, Virtual Visitors Day. And our whole point today is just to share a little bit of virtual camp with you. So thank you again for taking the time and joining us. We really appreciate that. And we appreciate the opportunity to answer your questions and to just help you understand what we're doing here. There's a lot of questions like what's a virtual camp mean? And we hope we're going to answer that well for you today as we go through some of the processes that we're doing here. But the definition of virtual means it's not physically existing, but made by software to appear so. So that's what we're doing here today. I mean, normally you'd be here. You'd have come over on the boat. You'd be having a tour, seeing kids enjoying activities. You would be enjoying a very noisy lunch with us. And we wanted to include you this summer, even though it looks very, very different. And we wanted to let you know what we're doing for Moorlands kids. As we prepared for this summer, we were very challenged this spring. We came up with 3 plans, just with COVID, we didn't know how it was going to go. One of those plans was a virtual camp, which is the one we've been able to execute on. And we had some goals. And one of our goals was to keep kids connected to the Moorlands community and to each other. It is clear, they need to talk with each other. They need to converse. They need those friendships and that social piece. And that's been happening 4 days a week here. You're going to hear a little bit more about that. Well, 5 days a week and 4 days a week live conversations. They're really enjoying that. The other thing was to give parents some structure. So during the day, there's about 5 things that can be chosen or downloaded and watched for their kids. And lots of parents have fit this into their day. The other one is to continue working with the Moorlands leadership habits and qualities to reinforce that learning, so that's not forgotten in this difficult and different summer. And the last, I think, is to share is just hope for kids. This is filmed at camp because this is where kids intended to be. This is the place they love, and this is what they were yearning for this summer. And so this gives them hope when they see that, they see familiar staff. We want to instill some hope for next summer when they can come back. That's what we are doing here this summer, and we're pressing hard on those goals to make sure that happens. This afternoon, we want to give you some time to ask us questions. We just got a short video clip now that I want to be played. This is from our Pirate Week. It's just a minute. It'll give you an idea what's going on. Gives you an idea of some of the highlights of session 1, which was all about pirates, including a game you probably haven't heard of, which is Pirate Bingo. We had a number of kids playing that live online, and gives you a glimpse in some of the fun that's been had. We've had a number of parents come back to us. One of our parents said to us, "Thank you so much. You could have done nothing, but not only are you doing something, but you are doing so much," and just thanked us again. Their kids are really enjoying coming to camp every day, just for that small portion, seeing those familiar things. So I want to move over to the question and answer. I have here to introduce Johnsy and Fisher, and you can ask them or myself questions, things that you're wondering about for this summer. We hope we can fill you in on those answers and help you understand what's going on. To start it off, one of the questions that we've been asked is, well, can the kids connect? Do they have something to connect with? How is that going to work? And how are you going to make sure that kids are able to connect? So I think there's been a big process that started way back in the spring, because we were doing videos for our city program children as well in the spring when COVID hit. And we took a lot of learning from that and learning from as much education as we could on it, and move forward with this virtual camp for the summer. I'm going to let Johnsy just speak to that access issue, and maybe you can be coming up with your questions that can happen right after this answer.
So this is a question we've gotten a lot, and the ways that we researched this to begin with, because we know connectivity could be a problem, is in the application that every parent has filled out for their child to come to our virtual program, there is a question where we ask how they are going to connect to our virtual programs, and if that is going to be a problem, and to contact us to make sure that they were able to connect and to make sure that they were able to access the programs. Any families who have expressed concerns to us, I have reached out to them individually, and we've dealt with it on an individual basis to support those families and make sure that they're still able to join the programs that we offer. So that's how we've been handling that connectivity. And now I'd like to open it up for other questions.
My question to Chauncey and Fisher would be, the program is really successful for the young ones at this stage of the game. And after 6 weeks, if they've been able to do the full program, what will be Moorlands Camp follow-up with these kids going forward? Have you developed anything to keep in touch with the kids going forward? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the ways that we've been looking at that is we right now have built up a really good sort of connection with our families and kids going forward. And so there's a few different things we're looking at sort of for the fall and that as well, of sort of continuing some of these meetings and some of these activities that they can take home and do with them there. Obviously, if it's in September, we won't be filming it here at the camp. It'll look a little bit more like the videos we were doing in the spring for our city programs. And so it'll be sort of integrating the camp families to the city programs side of things and being able to continue some of that connection throughout the year, which is amazing because it's an advantage. We haven't been able to do that before to the same degree. And so being able to maintain some of that relationship and connection throughout that year is going to be something that we're actually really looking forward to.
Thank you.
The other thing is we also were looking for, previously we were thinking of trying to gather and have these little festivals, as we call it, and things like that. And if we were able to do something like that, then amazing. But if that's something that we still can't do, then being able to connect in this way that we've been doing is a huge benefit and something that we're really excited for.
Thanks, Fisher.
A question that I get asked by many of our donors when I'm talking to them. They want to know what the kids' favorite activity has been so far.
That's a great question. Through camp, they're able to do so many different activities throughout every day and throughout the week. They have so much choice and option. And so something that we wanted to do this summer was have that similar amount of option and things. You know, not every kid is going to like every activity in the summer. We try our very best. Each week we put up about 25, there's about 25 different things for them to engage in. 20 videos and about 5 different live cabin activities and things like that. So what we've tried to do is provide that option. And what's really been passed on to myself and Chauncey by parents, but also by the kids themselves, is they love so much of it. You know, there's so much that they love. There's like, well, some will like the activities, some like the theme skits more, some like the morning song, which is crazy that would be someone's favorite part, but it's something that reminds them. And I think if I had to sort of pick a non-answer, I think what the kids love the most and their favorite activity is still being able to be a part of camp, and still being able to have that experience and what they love and that big picture of seeing what they're missing. But if I had to pick a specific one, I think they love the Thursday night live activities that we do, where we've had that pirate bingo where we've played and the kids have been watching on a Zoom meeting like you are now. We've played Pictionary with them in that way. And then last week we actually did an escape room with the kids where I had a camera mounted on my chest and they were in the chat sort of telling me what to look at, what to do, and all working together to get me out of a room. And the kids just love it. 2 picks for that answer. Great question. And I hope that helps you going forward as well.
David or Chauncey, what is our attendance rate like? How many kids have we got participating weekly, or that you anticipate for the whole summer? Thank you.
That's a really good question, and it was one that even before the virtual camp started, we didn't really know what the response was going to be. We've been averaging about 60 kids a session, which then is to say this session, session 4 that we're in right now, we actually have 78 kids in it this week. And so we've been averaging around those numbers, and we're anticipating to have about 360 spaces filled by the end of the summer. And then on top of that, we also do have our high school program still running, and they're doing weekly check-ins, either 1 or 2 times a week, depending on the program. And that's more kids that we're able to connect with that.
Thank you.
I have a question. I don't know if I can butt in or do I have to go through chat, but
Go for
I
it.
think you're allowed.
well, this shows that you have an opportunity to continue on this next summer and expand it in such a way that no one would have ever thought, and allow kids to stay connected even if they're not at the camp. Has people thought about that?
We've had some conversations about that. And the big thing that we keep coming back to is a lot of families have shared with us that they're so happy to do the virtual programs this summer because they can still experience camp. And next summer, they want to come to camp. And so Fisher and I have had discussions about what are some ways that we can then put more of camp online and share more of those videos. But our focus is still that next summer, the kids would be able to be here with us and camp would be running in person as normal.
Well, they could do both.
Well, exactly. They can get excited for when they come, or when they come back, they can still sort of like live off of that experience as well.
Yeah, combine it.
Yeah, there's lots of ideas, and so it's definitely something that we're definitely looking into and thinking about for sure. Like, we just want to make sure we've whatever's best for everyone, right?
It's very good.
No, thank you.
I think, Mel, one of the advantages too is you'll be all privy to all the planning discussions that come when we debrief and as our learnings after we finish off this virtual camp season with this amazing team up there. I got a question for you guys. Camp is always a busy, busy, busy time. But this year, you're not only doing all the camp maintenance and maintaining the property and protecting the different structures and doing all the things you have to do, but you're also actually filming the virtual programs and adapting the programs to work virtually for things like Clue, that group game you were telling us about, or the pirate game you were telling us about, Pirate Bingo. So do you sleep?
Rarely. Fairly infrequently. No, we've worked really hard to make our schedules work for this, and we've
12 hours a day.
It does end up being around 12-hour days, which when you look at a normal camp day is actually a bit of a reduction, which is nice. So it's like you're getting a break. But yeah, it ends up being around 12 hours a day. So we started around 8:30 in the morning, and when all of the cabin groups and everything are done in the evening and all that work, it'll be around 8:30 at night when everything is over and done. And obviously we do eat in between there and all that, but we've been able to make the schedule work so that people aren't being overworked or anything like that. And we've really been focused on how we can care for the people that are up here, because as you said, it is a lot of work. And it has been a lot of work as well. I mean, we usually have about 60 staff people up here doing different work and different jobs and stuff. And right now there is about a 10th of that up here doing the work. And so being able to balance that and make sure we treat everyone properly, that's been a really, really big, important piece for us this summer as well. But sleep sometimes take a summer.
I think also one of the things we keep, we're preparing the space and cleaning it up after the winter. Then they're preparing the videos. And then the kids were not, it's like, oh, they'll be here soon. They'll be here soon. That's how it feels mentally. But of course they were not coming. As soon as we started doing the live cabin groups, because a lot of the filming, we tried to get ahead and get it edited. Since there's so many hours of editing, they started to do the cabin groups. And that's when the joy came to the staff and really boosted their motivation, because now they were seeing the children enjoy. And that's been really, really important to have that live content for the kids, where they can talk to each other, but for the staff as well, just to bring them along to say, yeah, this is making a difference. We certainly heard that from parents. And Friday, the last day of the cabin group, they do a little evaluation and talk to the kids one-on-one, get feedback from parents. And that has really brought a lot of strong information about the significance of what's happening in kids' lives because they're doing this. So, I think in terms of the staff's mental health, they are long days, but they get energy from the kids when camp is on, and the same thing is happening this summer as well. Yeah. So that's just been a great added bonus.
So we have a lineup, a queue of questions now. So I'm going to tell you one of them. It's from Andrea. So he says, to me, sitting in front of a computer seems kind of like the opposite of actually going to camp. So what's the secret, or what's your secret to bringing the Marlins camp experience into the virtual realm and making it work for kids?
Something that we've really looked at with that is, we tried to answer the question early on of like, well, what makes camp camp? And after we filled about 15 pages of trying to figure that out, we tried to boil it down to what are some of the core things that the kids will know and what we can bring to that. And then taking that, how do we still be able to bring that to them? And so that's kind of what we've really worked on doing with the virtual programs, is we have that live interaction, we have games with the kids, we have the theme skits where every day there's a story that's told. They usually see that up in the dining hall every lunch, but nowadays they can sort of see that throughout the day, and it tells that story, and it's very much integrated into what we teach and all of that. We have the activities. They're not just coming and watching us do something fun and going, I wish I was there. All of our activities are designed and created so that they can do it at home. And one of the big things with that too is kids need to be active and moving. And so one of our activities every week is sports and movement. Or it's one of my favorite activities is Fisher Zumba, which is trademarked and copyrighted, maybe. And so what they do is I was leading a dance sort of like routine to a song, and the kids can do that along at home. There's been a small little like very light, easy workout they can do at home. There's been a really big focus of ours has been how can they be engaged and doing with us? And so being able to act and do something physical has been a really big part of what makes this work and make it feel like camp. So they're not just sitting there watching YouTube videos all day and have nothing to do but watch them, because they could do that without us. But what we're providing is something that they can actually do, where it feels like this is something they would be doing here, but they're able to do it with us at home.
And Fisher's worked really hard. He's done all of our editing for the videos, which has been endless at times. And he's worked really hard to make sure that as they're watching those videos, it's very easy to pause them and go and do the activity. And so, for example, for arts and crafts, which we've actually sent them supplies to do, they can watch, out of that 10-minute video, they can watch about 3 to 4 minutes of it, pause it, and start the activity. So even though the activity takes maybe 45 minutes in total, a lot of it is them not sitting at a screen watching it. A lot of them is doing and then going back to the screen and starting it back up again.
So we have another question now from Aaron and Melissa.
Just wondering, what kind of assessment tools are you guys using to make sure that you're hitting all of the HQs for all of the kids?
Yeah, so what we're doing is in the virtual cabin groups, we're going through the theme skits, which is the biggest way that the kids are learning those habits and qualities in addition to the activities that they're doing. So they're integrated into those activities, into the theme skits, and then there's often not just a discussion in that virtual cabin group, but also an activity that the kids are doing. So for example, yesterday, one of the ones that I was watching, which was a group of our youngest girls, the two leaders had the kids quickly go and gather random things that they could find in their household to make a crazy hairstyle. And they tied that into our habit of decide and plan, which is, did you have an end goal in mind of what you needed to get that hairstyle that you really wanted? And the leaders are able to go through that discussion and ensure that the kids have that understanding. And then at the end of the week, which we mentioned, we're doing a phone call survey where we have about 15 questions that we're asking the kids. And some of those questions are, we're asking them specifically, did you find that through the course of the week you did learn these skills? And how are you using these skills outside of the camp? And we now have tons of amazing quotes of how the kids have learned the skills in the program and then have been able to apply them in their home.
Just one quick question, and I don't know if you can answer it fully. What is the one ask that Linda, you have, Chauncey, Fisher, that we can help you, being the visitors, being the donators? What would you like to see from us to enhance that camp experience, that virtual camp experience, and carrying that forward? Thank you.
Well, I think that one of the things we know this year is that our fundraising is down, as are all charities, and we know that a lot of corporations have moved to helping more emergency food security programs and that type of thing. But there is a very real need here for connectivity with kids, and that is detrimental to their social development and to their own mental health. So it's great to know. It's great that there are so many people signed up today. It's very supportive to know that number of people are behind us. And we know that our individual giving is up. And that is our individuals who support camp are people who believe in camp, people who know what the experience is. This is the strangest summer going. And here we are taking this program to kids online, and we are coming up with some very, very good results. A parent said to us last week, on Friday, that Chauncey was on the phone and she wanted to talk to him after, and he thought, this could go positive or negative. And she said, I just need to tell you something. I have a different child today on Friday than on Monday. My kid was not engaged and was so tired of being home and having nothing to do, nothing significant. And just coming to camp last week, he said, my child is different. That is amazing results when there are no kids standing here. And that's very motivating to us, as is having our donors behind us. And if it's individual people, is to just help us. If everyone does their part, we will end this year okay. Even though all of us are in this time are worried about how things will go. So, as that parent said, you could have done nothing. We know we needed to do something. And another parent said, I didn't know how you were going to pull this off. You know what? We've never done this before either. But he said, you really pulled this off. It's amazing what you're doing for the kids. So that feedback is really heartfelt. And that's from a parent who's consuming this for his child and knows the significance it has in his kid's life. So to have donors behind us doing their part, spreading the word. We've just got this week 4.
Yeah.
We've got 2 more weeks of camp. We're still calling kids to say, hey, you can still sign up for the last session. We've got space. So you can spread the word, and you can spread the word to your friends who can help support Moorlands and get us through this very difficult year.
First off, thank you for everything that you're doing. That I've been able to follow a lot of what's happening at camp, and I'm just absolutely thrilled, super engaging, and thank you for all of what you're doing. So my question, just to clarify for donors, visitors, what's the cost? How much is the virtual camp costing per child? And what is each, is there a certain budget that you're looking for? And what does it cost for the virtual camp to run per child?
Well, I think that in the end, we'll see how many kids we have to break it down what the cost was per child. But projecting going into it was very similar to running camp because there are fixed costs. We still have the office in the city. We still have our insurance to pay for. We have communication tools and to pay for. we have to secure this property. At the moment, we're kind of losing a battle with squirrels and small rodents taking over buildings. So all of that, those costs remain fixed. And then there's the program delivery costs on top. So we are still close to $1,200 per child for this summer in terms of providing a service for them and keeping the property safe and secure and somewhat under control.
And ready for next year.
And ready for next year, yeah. So, normally our cost would be $1,250 a child, and I think this year we projected it would come out to about $1,200. Just looking at all the costs that have to be covered. Even if we close the doors here, we still have fixed costs. And next summer opening, we would have a lot higher costs just in terms of building maintenance and that type of thing. Hope that's helpful.
It is. I believe it, and thank you so much.
I wanted to share with you a story that I got to hear when I was talking to a parent at the end of the first session of camp. And this parent shared from me that they're not from Canada, their family. They're actually, they immigrated to Canada. And when they got here, one of the things that their kids really wanted to do was to be able to go to camp because they had seen the movie The Parent Trap. And I don't know if any of you have seen that movie, but it's a movie that takes place at camp. And they had seen that, and the kids said, that's what we really wanted to do. And this parent started researching different camps. And as you just heard, the cost of a child at a camp for a week is not very little money. It is very expensive. And one day they were sitting in a outreach for Toronto Parks and Rec, and I was invited to attend, and Fisher was invited to attend, and we presented Moorlands Camp, and they were listening and they were waiting to hear how much camp was going to cost them. And when I said, our camp fees start at $25 for the entire week, this parent did not believe me. And I had to go through that subsidy fee scale with them, and they were able to send their kids to camp last year, and it was such an amazing experience because the kids got to experience what they had seen in that movie. And then COVID-19 happened, and they didn't think that they were going to be able to come back, and they were really worried about that. And when we launched our virtual programs, the parent said to me, you have, in the best way that you can, created that experience again for my children. And I cannot thank you enough for that, because that's all they wanted to do, and they didn't think they were going to get to. And next summer, they can't wait to be back on the island with you. And so we're trying very hard to create the camp experience in a virtual world, and to hear that from a parent was very meaningful for us and meant a lot to us.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming to our live Q&A and to our virtual visitors day. We've really enjoyed being able to spend this time with you here.
Thank you.